Let's take a look at the Garmin Delta SE. The Delta SE is the newest Garmin e-collar. It is a step away from what we have had with the Delta collars in that this is a button dial transmitter where the original Delta collars used keys and a digital screen. So this is more along the lines of what I'm looking for in an e-collar in that it does not require looking at the handheld. So you have a tactile dial. As you raise and lower stimulation, you can feel it click in the dial, and then you have stimulation buttons across the front of the transmitter. So on the transmitter, you have access to momentary, continuous, tone, and then you have vibe on the dial. It's got 10 stimulation levels. It is the same size collar that we've had with Delta. A couple of slight variations. They have a keeper at the bottom, so the original Delta collars only had the side keeper, so now we have a collar keeper that's on the bottom. Gives you a little better fit. And they've also made an adjustment to the contact points. This contact point is the same shape and size of the traditional Garmin probes, but it is a conductive plastic. The advantage there is that you're going to have less neck irritation. Some dogs are bothered by the metal in the contact points that we have, and so this plastic is going to be a little bit better for those dogs that are sensitive. Garmin has a couple of versions of plastic probes. This one is a slight variation on it in that it is more like the traditional contact points that we've had from Garmin Tritronics for the last 15 or 20 years. Not quite as rounded as the plastic probes that we've had with some of the other Garmin products and we sell additionally. My experience with these is that they are better on the sensitive dogs, but they're not as good as the rounded probes. So the rounded probes you can leave on a dog almost indefinitely and not have neck irritation. These, on some dogs, you're going to get neck irritation at some point. Handheld. It's a one dog with a slider switch on the side that allows you to have dog 2. So we have dog 1 and we have dog 2. That's the most it'll do. So that's a slight variation there off of the Delta collars. And beyond that, you know, it's just kind of a straightforward e-collar, which is nice. I kind of felt like the original Deltas were a little on the confusing side. They had a lot of bells and whistles. And this is a straightforward e-collar. It is easy to understand, easy to use. It's, you know, it's good for close working dogs. It's a half-mile range, which, you know, that's going to cover the vast majority of the dogs out there. And it is small. It's a good size transmitter. It's a good size collar. It's going to work on, you know, little bitty dogs. A couple of things to point out. Transmitter comes out of the box in a low power mode. This is something new. We haven't seen this before. It is designed to protect the battery while it is, after it's been manufactured and it's in transit. And so right out of the box, the collar is going to turn on just like, you know, turn it on, it's going to have a decent charge on it. Transmitter is going to actually be in a low power mode and it will not turn on until you plug it into the charger. So you've got to actually plug the transmitter in and start to charge it before you can use it. So that's a little bit different, but that's called a low power mode. After you set it up the first time, you'll never have to deal with that again. Another thing that is different here is the charging. So Garmin has gone to the USB-C connectors on the transmitter. The collar has clip. So it's going to clip on and plug in, and it also has USB-C. So you're going to have a USB-C plug that will be here to charge both the collar and the transmitter. So this is one of those things that I'm going to give you 2 different ways to look at it. So you cannot charge both collar and transmitter at the same time with what comes with the unit. Your USB-C plugs up. You can plug this into a computer, you can plug it into a wall charger that has USB-C. So you can plug this in. It does not come with a 110 plug. Most people have those available to them, so it'll work with just a regular plug, but doesn't come out of the box that way. Also does not come with a splitter cable. So charge your handheld, and then to charge your collar, same plug here is going to plug into your clip for your collar. I like to be able to charge everything together at one time, but the battery in the transmitter, the standard for it says that it'll run for like 70 hours. That's not true. It's going to run for months. There's no power being used unless you're pressing the buttons. And even if you press the buttons a lot, there's just not a big power drain on it. So you're going to charge your collar a couple of times a week, maybe, if you're using it a lot. Your transmitter, you might have to charge once a month. They charge fast, and the charger, it's got a light on it, tells you when it's done. So one way to look at the lack of the pieces included is that it's less waste. You just aren't going to need it. So that's just something I like to point out to folks. We're used to having lots of pieces when we buy an e-collar, and this is a this is a step away from that. Something else that's new in the Delta SEs, and we have not seen this yet with any of the Garmin e-collars, you now have the ability to update the software via Garmin Express on your Delta SE transmitter. So that's kind of stepping us into a new world here. What's great about that is that if there's a problem with your unit, if we have some sort of issue, a lot of times that can be fixed via software. And so now with this unit, you download a program off of Garmin's website called Garmin Express, and then you plug your unit into your computer, and you're able to update the software. We've had that from Garmin with their GPS units forever and their GPS dog units. We have that. It works great. We do software updates on a regular basis. We have not had that on an e-collar yet, so this is something that's kind of cool. The collar for the Delta SE does not have that option. It is pretty much the same software and board that we've had in the previous Delta products, but the handheld is a new generation and it has the ability to have software updates. So that's kind of cool. I'm not sure how big of a deal that's going to be in the future, but having that ability, there's no downside to it, and it's one of those things where if you have an issue with a product, you may be able to fix it, via Garmin Express. So I like that. Long and short probes, and then once again, the conductive plastic is. I've worked with these a little bit, and I really like them. Something to know about the conductive plastic is that the stimulation is a little different. It tends to be a little bit less with the conductive plastic versus the standard contact points. And so a dog that has been working on, say, a 1 or a 2 on this collar might require a 2 or a 3 with these probes. If you don't like these probes, you can switch them out for the standard probes. But I've been pleased with them, and I'm running the conductive plastic on a lot of my dogs right now, and so far I've been real pleased with it. Let's talk about Delta compatibility. So this is part of the Delta line, and most of the Garmin e-collars are cross-compatible and backwards compatible. You will be able to use these collars with the previous Delta units. They will communicate with each other. The only thing, this unit does not have a bark function, and so if you have like a Delta Sport that has the bark feature, you can use this as an e-collar on the Delta Sport, but it will not have the bark function. You can also use this on the Delta Upland, but it will not communicate with the beepers. It does not have that capability. And you can also use these with the Garmin PT10 collars. So I've been running that. I've got a smaller dog that I've been running the SE collar on, and then I've got Dakota, my shepherd. She wears the larger collar, so she runs out on a PT10 with this handheld. And so a lot of cross compatibility there, so that's good. If you have some older units and you want to use your collars with the new stuff, you can do that. The Delta SE, in my opinion, is a straightforward e-collar. It's going to be simple to use, simple to understand. It's going to fit on pretty much all size dogs. It's got a great stimulation range. It's very similar to what we have in the Sport Pro, which is the next step up from this collar. It's going to work with a wide majority of dogs out there. And I've been using one for a couple of months now, and I've been pleased with it. It's a good size, and it's a good stimulation choice, and just an all-around good basic e-collar.